Recognition and acknowledge, oh, I'm sorry.
Next item, please.
Recognition and acknowledgements, commendations.
Evening, President McDonald, trustees, Dr. Maleko, Ms. Harris, and we're here tonight to recognize our wonderful engineers. We have a few with them here tonight. If they can come up. So just want to say a few words. Thank you to all our engineers for continually keeping our buildings in great condition and ready to welcome staff, students, and parents. Thank you for all you do on a daily basis, from checking boilers to receiving deliveries, cutting grass, removing snow, fixing locks on lockers, and this is just a few of your daily tasks. You are our unsung heroes that walk the halls every day, making sure our students have a safe space where they can learn and grow. Thank you for your dedication, for being caring, and for always being on call 24/7, as emergencies seems to always happen when they either arrive home or they put their heads on their pillows. Thank you, our engineers, for all you do.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yes, if you would please introduce yourself.
And building. And building, please.
Richard Salone, Salina Intermediate.
Okay, it's
Denise Flannery, Bryant.
Sean Jones, the Great Gear Park Elementary, and I'd like to take this time to just say how much I appreciate working with my staff at Gear Park. They're the greatest staff. Anytime you guys come and visit Gear Park, I know you enjoy them, and I couldn't be more proud to work with the staff that I work with at Gear Park.
for sharing.
Cindy Costello, Long Elementary.
Derek Rayleigh, Lindbergh.
Eddie Terry Jr., Henry Ford Elementary.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Acknowledgements of donations.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We can do commendations.
okay. Oh, wait. Commendations.
Good evening, President McDonald, trustees, and Dr. Maleko. Thanks to our engineers as well as our student musicians. They were beautiful tonight. Okay, I'm going to start with acknowledgement, right? Yes. The following donations have been offered to the Dearborn Public Schools District. Acceptance of these donations are requested at this time. A donation of $1,049.66 has been offered to Howard Elementary School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for 10 robots. A donation of $5,000 has been offered to Bryant Middle School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for mallet percussion. A donation of $250 has been offered to Fordson High School by Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for entrance fee to Rouge Factory Tour. A donation of $2,000 has been offered to Stout Middle School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for Glowforge. A donation of $350 has been offered to Long Elementary School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for safety vests, rain gear, and umbrellas. A donation of $10,000 has been offered to Snow Elementary School by the Dearborn Education Foundation in partnership with National Philanthropic Trust to be used for an outdoor garden. A donation of $1,000 has been made or has been offered to Dearborn High by the Dearborn Education Foundation in partnership with Fidelity Charitable Giving to be used by Dearborn High Theater. A donation of $100 has been offered to Salina Elementary School by Sarah Bazzi to be used towards the Fall Festival. A donation of $250 has been offered to Salina Elementary School by Abbas Al-Zayyat to be used towards the Fall Festival. A donation of $227.45 has been offered to Salina Elementary School in memory of Haji Afifi Saeed Hamoud Musallam to be used towards the Fall Festival. A donation of 5 books has been offered to Dearborn High School by Maury Dean to be placed in the library. The 5 books were written by Mr. Dean. A donation of 9 $50 Amazon gift cards, has been offered to Dearborn Public Schools by Trustee D'Ambrosio to be used by the staff for the staff appreciation drawings. A donation of 490 pumpkins has been offered to Salina Elementary School by Rabi' Najdi to be used at the Fall Festival. A donation of $500 has been offered to Atzel Ford High School by the United Mail Center to be used towards a Thanksgiving dinner for newcomer students. We appreciate all the donors and thank you so much. Now for the commendations. We have 2 this month. They came through the assessment office. The first one is for the district. Commendations to Hilda Irani, who was invited to be part of an Arabic language committee for the state's Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability. Ms. Irani will be assisting with the guidance of how the Michigan Department of Education should make assessments accessible to students who speak Arabic. Another commendations also that came through the assessment office, commendations to Hibat Abdelbaki, she's the principal at Stout, and her team at Stout for being recognized for the successful test administration, monitoring and observations during the WIDA testing last spring. The recognition comes from the State of Educational Assessment and Accountability again. WIDA is the test that we give to multilingual students, and it stands for World-Class Instructional Design and Assessment. Thank you to all the donors and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, staff appreciation drawing.
The back wall.
Me again. So today we want to say congratulations for 5 employees who were nominated by their colleagues. We have Nuria Ahmed, secretary at Salina Elementary. We have Mona Ramal, receptionist from McCullough Eunice. We have Zahra Kazan, teacher at Miller Elementary. We have Amal Abdullah, principal at Miller, and Ryan Dane, teacher at Maples. For the sake of time, we're not going to read all the nominations. I chose one that she was nominated twice, actually, Miss Nuria Ahmed, and she's a secretary, as I said, at Salina Elementary. The first nomination, the first person said, "This individual always goes above and beyond with all that she does. She knows all the students at the school, their families, their needs and concerns. She knows how to accommodate their needs or how to get the student help. She reviews every document thoroughly that is placed in her hands and follows up if something was missed. When it came to ensuring our students were up to date on immunizations, she called all the families whose immunizations were not complete numerous times. She got numerous families signed up at the clinic provided by the Wayne County Health Department and even followed up by calling them to remind them of the day and times. It doesn't sound like much, but she always goes 2 extra steps beyond what she is expected to do. And most of all, it's always done with a smile." The other nomination, the other person said about Miss Nuria Ahmed, Miss Ahmed is the first person our community turns to for information and support. She spends countless amount of time speaking to parents, answering their questions and concerns as we navigate through this crisis. She was and is the voice of calm, She has developed a trust throughout the entire community, which is well-deserved. Her patience, love, and care for our entire community is remarkable. She is an unsung hero. She never wants accolades. She said she is only doing her job. However, Nuria Ahmed does like her job like no one I have ever seen. She is a blessing to us all. Congratulations to the 5 nominees. And of course, they do receive a $50 gift certificate. Thank you.
Next item, please.
Approval of minutes. Approval of minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meeting. Policy Committee meeting, November 14th, 2022, Board Report 22-55. Building and Site Committee meeting, November 14th, 2022, Board Report 22-56. Regular P12 meeting, November 14th, 2022, Board Report 22-57. Recommended action, make any necessary corrections and move approval of these minutes.
I second the motion.
We have a motion by trustee D'Ambrosio and seconded by trustee trustee Barry. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Trustee D'Ambrosio?
Yes.
Trustee Moza?
Yes.
Trustee Petlicoff?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Trustee Watts? Yes. President McDonald?
Yes. Next item, please.
Special reports, Energy Bond, Train Technology, Mr. Thomas Wall and Ms. Gwen Petit.
Thank you, Madam President. Dr. Maleko, Board of Education. As we've gone through this process, we've been doing a lot internally, everything we can to help with the infrastructure of our buildings. We've done, some refundings to lower the debt rate so we have greater opportunities. We've gone out for our bond issue back in 2019 that almost passed but did not. We looked at it for last year, but we decided to do a long-term study. Having done all that, we have also had money from the federal government for the pandemic, where we're able to use ESSER 3 funds for air quality. So we have done that, and with the ESSER funds, we were able to generate a surplus internally, so we've kind of matched that money. So about $80 million, we're doing everything internally. Not too many things are left. One of the things that are left is doing an energy bond. And we have two speakers here to talk to you about it. We have taken the concept to the Finance Committee and the Building and Site Committee, and now we're doing a presentation at the full board. So I could steal their thunder, but I'll let them kind of go through it. So we have from Train, Gwen Pettit and Dean Weber. They're going to talk to you briefly about this program.
Thank you. You said briefly because I said only 8 minutes. Wait a minute. Good evening. I'm Gwen Pettit, and this is Dean Weber, and we are from Train. As Mr. Wall said, we will be a quick presentation. Although you have the slide deck here, we're going to skip over some slides in lieu of time, but if you do have any follow-up questions, of course, you can always contact us. So today, let's see. So first to start with, what is an energy savings performance contract? So in lieu of time, we're going to go, basically it is a financial mechanism mandated by the state, and you can see down here this Michigan legislation that gives you the legislation that allows us to do these types of projects. So if you were to click on this link, you can find the legislation directly. So we're essentially using the energy waste from and operational waste from tomorrow and the years to come and pull that up to today to do one large bundled project to get things done. Essentially, a lot of times we use zero money from the capital budget, and sometimes we get things like ESSER funds or different sinking funds and things like that. So we build this project with the district, and we've been working through for the last 8-9 months with the district to try and facilitate some kind of project to offset some of the costs that you have with your building infrastructure. So currently, this is a pretty easy diagram. I am an ex-teacher, so I like to show pictures and colors. But in this first depiction on the left, you can see right now, without doing an energy project, typically we've done a lot of calculations. We put measurements, industry standard measurements to some of the waste that you have already with maybe some building infrastructure such as lighting and water conservation and different things like that. And we start with utility bills as well as some of the operational bills that you've been, paying out of with T&M, time and material, trying to emergency calls, things like that. So we've come up essentially with, there's about 520,000 plus, roughly. That was the initial number. That middle box there is during a project, when we're doing the upgrades, we have identified that is going to save the district money. You always are going to have to pay your utility bills to DTE and consumers. You're always going to have those. You're always going to have some maintenance that you have, such as, let's say, CSD1 testing on your boilers. It's mandated by the state. But we're able to, when we do these upgrades, just like if you were to do a window upgrade or a roof upgrade on your house, once you do those upgrades, you've now secured that house a little tighter. You're not letting that money seep out, the crevices of your house. So that's essentially some of the things that we look at. And the way we build these, based on legislation, we look at how can we put money back in the district's budget. So that green box at the top, essentially, as you're paying off some of the upgrades we do with reallocating that money that you're wasting, you also have a piece of that you also can put back in your general fund. That third box there on the right is once the project is finished, you're always going to have to pay DTE and consumers. They always want their piece. But you have now upgraded systems that are efficient, they're sustainable. We've identified, we've done those upgrades, we've made sure. And one thing I maybe didn't identify is this is a guaranteed project. So once we give you those savings numbers, we are liable for those savings numbers. So it's a guaranteed project. If we were to tell you that you're going to save $100,000 and you only save 90, we pay you the difference. And that's how we keep our standing as a energy service provider. So this is just a quick depiction of some of the things when we go into the buildings. We've crawled through your basements. We've went on the roof. We've crawled through some of the chambers in the high schools. We've pretty much looked at everything over this last year. Looking at LED lighting, as you can see in here, there's upgrades needed. Water conservation, that'll save you money. Renewables. We look at all these different facets of what we call energy conservation measures, and we assign dollar figures to those, and they're industry standard dollar figures. And that's how we come up with the project. So this is a couple things, I'm not going to go through all of them, but building envelope, like I mentioned, just like at your house, water conservation, lighting, those things we know saves money. You know that to do it in your house. So those are some that you can go back to. So here's a couple benefits, and again, in lieu of time, I'm not going to go back, but what we really, the first thing when we do these projects, it's all about heat typically. How do we update your heat? That's usually why schools do these projects. You have old boilers, you have old univents, you have, different systems that are not efficient. So we're trying to enhance that learning environment, but we're also trying to make it comfortable. Or, sometimes we have equipment that makes so much noise in a classroom, and I know this as a teacher, where you used to go in there with a little screwdriver and, fiddle with your univent. So we're really trying to improve that environment. Again, this is a collaborative process. We've been working with your leadership team to identify, with the building engineers as well, to identify, what are the what can we address with the low-hanging fruit. Again, it's a guaranteed energy savings, and everything we do improves air quality, which is a big issue with a lot of the money coming down with the federal government. We're trying to improve the air quality. And some of the other things, obviously I've talked about the avoiding, pulling everything to today's cost instead of spreading it over the next, 10 years actually saves money. So it's a single source accountability, meaning everything, comes through the ESCO company, whoever that may be, and we are responsible for the guarantee as well. This is just a quick look. I'm not going to talk much about this, but part of working with us is an educational program. We have many facets of that, and we can touch more on that in the future. And then just some case studies. These are some of the other districts that we've worked, this is just a small show of what we've worked out around the state. And then the next steps. So right now we're presenting to the board The next step would be to release an RFP, and we would have to respond to that RFP. And so would everybody else have the opportunity to respond to that RFP as well. And then you can see here, we have a mandatory pre-bid meeting. There's a last day for written questions. You know, we go through the whole RFP process that is mandated by the state. And that RFP would be released on January 10th, and then with the board selection in the February meeting. And you can see the, you know, the way these projects are typically done are with a bond resolution. It's an energy bond that is voted on by the board and not the community. But again, it's guaranteed by the ESCO that does the project. Any questions?
I would just like, since I wasn't on either of the committees that you spoke with, would you please touch on the educational piece, the component for a moment?
Yep, I would. It's my favorite piece, being a teacher. So ex-teacher. So we have different facets to work with. Train has a certified STEM program that typically once we start a project, we can essentially turn the building into a learning living lab. You know, that's one piece of it. We have a data analytics certification that seems to be really much the hot point for the districts right now, because there's 27% of the jobs in the state right now, no matter what it is, whether it's farming, whether it's nursing, agriculture, you have to know how to read and do something with the data. So that's another piece that we can offer with that, is every student can come out with a data analytics certification. So they have something to put on their job application or something to put on their college application. It seems to be one of the hot points right now that we're working through. We also have, we partner with NC3, the National Coalition for Certification, and Train is the HVAC energy partner as well as the STEM partner. And there's many other industry leaders on this with NC3. And we can talk a little bit, that's a little bit more in depth, but you can provide skilled trade certifications, stackable certifications to your students if that's the route that you choose to partner with NC3. So we have a lot to offer on that side. We have teachers on staff, retired teachers that have been teachers between them, you know, they got 75 years, 80 years of experience. They work with your teachers to implement an energy curriculum somewhere between grades 4 through 12, whatever, you know, we look at every school district's different. So it's a proven process. We've been doing it for a long time. So when it comes around, we will usually contact Dr. Malenko and say, okay, who do we want to reach out to? And then we get stuff started there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Trustee Thorpe?
Question more for Mr. Wall, I believe. So again, with the financing and costs, the cost of this program, we would anticipate being zero net cost to the district, because any bonds that we would put out would be paid for by savings on utilities and through other meanings. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And the value of the bond, or how much we contribute, because we can do at a zero contribution to the program and just get this energy savings, or we can go a little further and invest some additional money and then maybe get additional savings above and beyond that. That determination hasn't been made yet. So we got to go through the mechanics. A lot of it will depend on the RFP costs. Because as you're aware, you know, the costs right now, they're coming back from construction and keep rising. And at some point, we have to make a risk analysis model of, do we want to go at the zero-based or contribute additional money for additional costs? Those things will be understood more when the RFPs come back.
And then once those bonds are paid off, that is money back in the wallet of the
Correct.
district.
After those bonds, any savings from that is all towards the general fund.
Thank you.
And just a quick update, because Train is here pro bono for the last 8 months. They've been working with us very closely to educate us and to investigate, and as they say, go through all the buildings with a fine-tooth comb. There's no guarantee that Train will get this contract. This is why we're asking for the board right now, just to give approval to go out for an RFP, and they will have to bid it just like anybody else. Just don't think that they have an advantage here. It's a formal bid process as described by law. But they've done this all pro bono, so I just want to make sure I let them know the thanks for all the hard work. A lot of phone calls and meetings. Thank you.
And that's what I was going to clarify for everyone, that they are one of the providers of this particular style, just like we have somebody else doing it at Henry Ford College. So the RFP is really what's going to drive
Correct.
who we get bidding for this and where we end up. And yes, there are several levels of investment that we could do, and we would have to make that decision after we find the best bid package.
Trustee Moses?
Thank you, Madam President. My question is about the period on the schedule. Is that enough time? Only 14 days between the release of the RFP and the response due for,
Yeah, so right now, with the board approval to move forward, the RFP will develop that. And that's why we talked about waiting until after the holidays, because really people kind of shut down during this time and don't respond. We want to make sure we have a good response to the RFP, so that's why we're pushing it till afterwards. These programs are normal, they're normally used to doing these kind of things, and they want to get it in and get out as fast as they can to make sure the savings come in quicker. Because again, if the savings don't get hit, then they got to make sure they put up the money for.
And there's only certain people who specialize in doing this.
Correct.
It's not like we're going out and just getting anybody off the street corner who will be bidding on this.
Right,
So
they
you're not
may
gonna have the same
subcontract,
kind
but
of, they
these
have to be
companies-
qualified.
These companies are used to this and they do this on a normal business.
Anyone else? Thank you.